Hello, welcome. I am going live. This is Allison Vanilla from Allison B Coaching, and I have to just check and make sure I'm live on Substack. And let me see if I am also live on LinkedIn. It seems like my live on LinkedIn is not coming up, so next time I'll have to check and see what I did wrong. For anybody who's been following my journey, this is me learning how to use live streaming and live streaming on multiple platforms. I'm being very ambitious. I'm not just trying to live stream on one, I'm trying to live stream on several platforms. I'm using StreamYard, but apparently there are some other things I need to do to make sure that it works. Anyway, let me just get into this. Today I wanted to come on quickly and talk to you about the subject of life hacks. I am one of those people who just love and appreciates anything that improves efficiency. I love to figure out how to get things done and get them done quickly and with greater efficiency. Cooking hack, love it. Show me how to do things, show me how to move around the kitchen with ease and maybe use tools a little bit better, or maybe use certain ingredients in a way that I could accomplish my meal a little bit easier. Gardening hacks, love them, love them. So, are you like me that sometimes when you see something, you're like, oh my God, why did I never think to do it that way? That is so simple. If I had learned how to do it that way ages ago, think how much more time would I have saved in my life? I remember watching a hack from somebody who was painting a room. And having raised four boys, my husband and I always had dings and holes in the wall, and we were always trying to patch up the little places where they, knock something into a wall or something. Boys could be pretty rough on walls. And I remember years later, they're grown and gone now, and seeing a hack about how to replace the little dry wall in such a way that it was so easy. And I looked at my husband and I said, why didn't you ever do it that way? Because we were back and forth trying to cut it in a certain way so that it would look right. And of course, it never looked right. But anyhow, so then we saw that hack. Well, I want to talk to you about a life hack. This whole subject came about because I was trying to clean my whiteboard in my office, trying to prepare it for the next month. And I'm there wiping the whiteboard, and I used a cleaner that comes that says, okay, this is the cleaner, you spray it, and it's supposed to wipe off the ink. So I'm there scrubbing the whiteboard as if, like I'm scrubbing so hard. I'm like, did I make a mistake the last time I wrote on the whiteboard and write it in permanent ink? Because this shouldn't be this hard to come off. I'm exhausting myself trying to wipe off everything that's on there. So I'm there panicking. Oh my goodness, the whiteboard, it's got permanent ink on it. Then I remember a few years back when I couldn't find the cleaner, I tried hand sanitizer. Now, we all have had hand sanitizer. I mean, remember COVID-19? I mean, we've got it in our purse, in our bathrooms. So I quickly ran to my purse, found a little jar of sanitizer, one little drop, wipe, boom, everything was clean. And I thought, wow, no sweat, no stress, no fuss, no muss, and that thing is clean. Well, that's a hack. That's a hack. It just made my life so much easier. So not all hacks are great, but that one was really good. Hand sanitizer if your whiteboard is giving you issues. So what are the reasons that life hacks are really good? Ideally, they create good outcomes and sometimes better outcomes with less effort. So you get better results because even if the results were the same and you had really a lot of effort put into it, it just feels horrible afterwards. I like to apply these kind of insights always to see if they hold up with scripture. If you know anything about me, I everything I do has to line up with scripture. So let me see if I could find my banners here. I have a couple of pieces of scripture I want to go through, and let's see. I'm going to keep an eye on the time because I really don't want to be on here too long. But I want to look at some pieces of scripture that I feel went well with this subject of just finding a way to do things more efficiently with greater ease and less stress. First scripture I want to talk about is Proverbs 21:5. It says, the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. When I saw this scripture, I thought, well, wait a second. Am I saying that we should just kind of hurry through things? No, I'm not saying that we should hurry through things, but I'm saying that sometimes we can't pause and say, wait a second, is this really the best way to approach this problem? Especially if it's something that we are really struggling at. We should be diligent. We should be diligent to make sure that the remedy that we're applying is the right remedy for the problem at hand or the challenge at hand. We don't need to put a hack is not just a hasty band-aid over something. I remember years ago as a child, we had bought my mother's, the second house that she bought. Um, my husband and I moved into that house. She still had her original house and she bought a second house and we rented it from her. And when we moved into the house, it's a cute little house on the beach and was beautiful, but the walls were really dingy and needed to be painted. So we started to paint the house. And in order to paint it, the former tenants had left a painting on the wall. So we took down the painting. And my husband said to me, look at this. We looked and they had painted that house, but they had painted around the painting. Can you believe that? How lazy is that? Take the painting off the wall and paint the wall. So yeah, when we move things off the wall, they're just kind of painted around everything. Well, that is being hasty and that's not being diligent. So, and that's not a good hack. I mean, they may have thought it was, but it wasn't. So anyhow, let's start off with saying the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. So if you're looking at a hack as just something that you're just being hasty with, no, it's not going to work long term. So let's go to the next scripture that I like. Commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established. The reason I love that one is many times we look for hacks because we're frustrated about something. There's so many times I've sat and looked at a problem like, oh my goodness, there's got to be a better way to go about this. If I pause and I breathe and I focus and I say, okay, God, just show me. Show me what it is that I could do that's different. Show me how I could get the end result and not feel as frustrated. That's the scripture I think we really need to apply. Commit your works to the Lord and your plans will be established. I'm glancing to the side just to see if anything is going on the other side, but no, still nothing I'm looking to. Okay, let me look at the next scripture. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, and it will be given. James 1:5. What I said earlier, ask God to show you. Oh, there's another scripture, but I didn't put it on there. I think it's Jeremiah 33:3, but it said just ask, and if you ask anything, oh, I can't, I'll have to look it up and I'll get it on here later on. But yeah, that's another one. Ask. We undervalue asking. I think it's because we just think we're so smart with our own little brains. Like we could figure it out, especially if it's something that's simple. I know if something's very difficult, I know immediately I got to go ask somebody. Anything regarding to technology, fine. But if it's something that you're so comfortable with and you're familiar with, you just go about your business and you think, okay, I know this. I don't need to ask anybody anything. But when you do hit a rough spot and you start to feel frustrated, stop and ask. For God is not a God of confusion, but of peace. First Corinthians 14:33. Truly, truly believe this. When I am at my most frustrated level, I know I'm not operating in a place of spiritual peace. And when I'm not operating there, I'm like, wait a second. Okay, whether that frustration, again, is with technology or with a person or just something. I could be out in the garden and I could be frustrated about something. I could be in the kitchen, I'm frustrated about something I'm trying to accomplish and it's just not coming to me. So I know God is not the author of frustration or confusion. I know He is of peace. So I will sometimes stop everything, walk away, stop, walk away, even for a minute. Now, walking away doesn't mean you're not engaging in the issue. And I say this also when I talk to people about relationships. We're not going to avoid and we're not going to stonewall or not engage with people. But sometimes it's good to just take a breather and say, God, you're not in the midst of confusion. If you're fighting with someone, you're like, God, you're the God of peace. So let me stop, take a breather, let your partner know you're not avoiding the issue, but you just need to step away. Give yourself a time frame. Say 5 minutes, set a timer. Within 5 minutes, I commit to being back and re-engaging. But I just need to do something to just calm myself down and for God to give me wisdom about what's going on so that maybe I could engage in a better way. So that's a life hack. Just stop, take a breather, and then come back. There's a story in Exodus where Moses' father, I think I've told the story on one of my other episodes. This is episode 5, by the way, of, I think, let me see, I have a ticker here. I think this is it. There you go, episode 5. Of a series of live streams that I'm trying to do to get a little bit better at them, and hopefully there's some improvement. So anyhow, the story is in Exodus where Moses' father-in-law comes and to visit, and he sees that Moses is just overwhelmed, and he's looking at the situation, and it's like, Moses, what you're doing is not good. You're going to wear yourself out. And sometimes it takes somebody from outside of our circle, sometimes somebody outside of the situation, to look and see what we're doing and to let us know, what you're doing is not good. Now, that doesn't mean that they're smarter than us or it doesn't mean that they're wiser than us. Sometimes because we're in the situation, we really can't see it well. And we need somebody who's outside of it, who's looking at us in the situation to see where there may be room for improvement. So he gives Moses some good tips on what to do so that he's not as stressed out. So that leads me to my next issue, not my next issue, my next tip about life hacks. Sometimes the best life hacks come when you phone a friend, when you call somebody, or when you talk to somebody else. Scripture in Ecclesiastes says, two are better than one, for if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. Many a times the scripture is used in weddings, and I love it for weddings when two people are putting their lives together and forming a marital union, but also it's in just general society. Sometimes you just don't have all the answers, and it's not a sign of weakness to call somebody and say, hey, listen, there's a gap in my knowledge, there's a gap in my wisdom. How do you see the situation? Okay, so phone a friend, get some extra help. Because at the end of the day, God says, my yoke is easy and my burden's light. Matthew 11:30. If you're not feeling light, and if you're feeling that it's so much of a burden, it could be that, you're just not operating God's peace, and you could use a life hack at that moment. So why don't you try that? Life hacks too. I wanted to say something else here. Sometimes a life hack could be a new tool. Somebody could teach you a new tool, a new way to do something. Sometimes it could be a new approach. Maybe it's a different attitude. Maybe that will ease the situation. And sometimes it's simply asking for help, like I said. So think about those things as you go along and as you think about ways to lighten your burden. Life hacks. All right. So that is what I have to say today. Before I end this, okay, I'm going to try something else, see if this works. I have an outro that's loaded up. But before I give that outro, I think I want to give this encouragement. Let's do. If you found value in today's live stream, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a moment of wisdom, strategy, or real talk. Want even more? I drop content regularly over on Substack, devotionals, insights, and practical tools to keep you grounded and growing. The link is in the description, so be sure to check it out and subscribe there too. Thank you again for hanging out with me. Until next time, stay focused, stay faithful, and keep showing up. Excellent. That worked out really well. All right, guys, and here's my official out. Oh my goodness, I can't speak today. Outro. Yes, for this video. Let me know how I'm doing with live streaming, guys. I know it's it's a work in progress, but I'm feeling a little bit less nervous, a little bit more comfortable. I think the reason I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable is because I'm, I'm failing in real time. So it's good, and the world is not ending just because this is not perfect, and that is making me feel more at ease. And I encourage anybody who's trying to do new things. Sometimes you just have to jump in there and try, and improvement will come as you do more and more of it. So this is me trying to keep my commitment. And that's all I have to say. I'm going to say goodbye. Have a blessed day. And here is my end of stream. If you're struggling to slow down and be present with God, my new devotional, Stillness, is available now for purchase on my website. The link is below. Check it out.